Hi, my name is Professor Tim Machan from the University of Notre Dame, and it's my great pleasure to congratulate Dr. Rebecca West on earning her PhD this spring from the Medieval Institute of the university. I've known Becky for maybe 5 years, during which time she's taken several courses from me, worked as my research assistant, and most recently completed a dissertation under my supervision. The thesis is entitled The Idea of Anglo-Scandinavian England, Viking Ethnicity in English Memory. And Becky's dissertation begins with a simple, even obvious question that surprisingly has not been asked. What happened to the Anglo-Scandinavian descendants of the Viking invaders after the Norman conquest? This isn't an archaeological project that quantifies grave sites, assembles DNA evidence, and the like, though it does enough of that to give a sure footing to our arguments. Rather, Becky's interests are in how and whether post-conquest Anglo-Scandinavian remembered and represented their past, and to what extent, accordingly, it's possible to speak of Anglo-Scandinavian ethnicity at that time. It's a project concerned with memory, then, especially with how memory can fashion a past to justify itself, even to the extent of remembering practices and images whose meaning is no longer known. Becky's project thus forms a crucial link among studies of medieval Norse-English contact, discussions of the Norse influence on English literature in the 18th and 19th centuries, and recent work on the reception of the Anglo-Saxon period in early modern England. It likewise engages broad issues of cross-cultural influence, memory studies, and literary representations. In this way, she materially and significantly alters critical discourse by, in a sense, proving a negative, which is that what the early modern, Victorians, and even many contemporary discussions take for granted, which is that Scandinavia left an indelible mark on what it means to be English, well, Becky shows that in fact there's very little medieval and late medieval evidence for that notion. Three things strike me about the project and Becky as a scholar. First, she generated an extraordinary amount of broadly based ancillary material that could not be used in her dissertation, but that she is storing for future projects. She has uncovered fascinating things on Norse-Arabic contact, for instance, that have gone into a folder for future Becky, because they do not fit her current project. Second, she is an amazingly quick study. We would meet, discuss what she had done and what needed to be done, and she would return several weeks later with just the needed material. And third, hands down, Becky is the most gifted language student I have known. She has a very strong reading knowledge of Old English, Old Norse, Old French, and Latin, and her Greek, which she maintains as a kind of hobby, is also very good. Having spent as much time as I have with Becky, I feel I have gotten to know her better than many of the students I work with. And I can say without hesitation that she is not simply smart, but hardworking and goal-oriented. She's an individual who is committed to the proverbial life of the mind, tenacious in seeing things through to completion, and resourceful in reaching her professional goals. Becky may be the most educatable graduate student I have known, and by that I mean she almost instantly grasps the point of comments or suggestions, adapts them to her own purposes, and shifts her thinking and writing accordingly. Becky, it truly has been a privilege and honor to be able to work with you, and I wish you great personal and professional success in the future.